Try and do something else.
What was that?
Murder, witchcraft and poltergeist await the Most Haunted team as we head back to Tynedale Farm.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. One of the most disturbing scenes ever witnessed on television was watching a whole crew succumb to something that has never been totally explained scientifically or paranormally.
Halloween 2004 saw Most Haunted conduct a live investigation at Pendle Hill in Lancashire. This seemingly innocuous area rose to prominence early in the 17th century, as many locals, nearly all women, were accused, tried and even hanged for practicing the dark arts, better known as witchcraft. But were they judged correctly? Were innocent lives lost? And do these so-called witches still haunt the area today? Intrigued by the mystique that this area still holds, we wanted to return, and having already sampled the hostile atmosphere at the neighbouring Lower Wellhead farm, it was time to move on to another apparent witches' coven. But we do so with the events that unfolded on that autumn evening still fresh in our minds.
God, this is a horrible place, isn't it?
Okay.
Oh my God, I have never ever experienced anything like this in my life. What's up?
Come on for a minute.
Come on, Elizabeth. Oh my God! Well, after watching that, most people would think I was crazy to come back here again. Well, I've not come on my own. I've brought the whole crew to re-investigate Tynedale Farm.
Behind me here is the ominous Tynedale Farm. This is the first time I've actually set eyes on it, other than obviously on the monitors when I was in the studio with Richard Jones, watching the events unfold in front of me, watching the crew that I've worked with for the best part of 2 years dropping like flies. I likened it to a battlefield situation.
The present owners of the house refuse to come here on their own, but when they're inside, they absolutely refuse to stay on their own. The lonely figure of a ghostly woman has been seen walking in this corridor. She's wearing long, dark robes. When she's spotted, she simply fades away.
I was thinking of all sorts of things that I could perhaps bring with me, things that might ward off evil spirits, bits of rowan wood and various things that were used years ago that I could have brought. To ward off evil spirits and witches. But do we actually want to ward them off? Or do we want them here? I'm very nervous about the whole thing, as is everyone else. And to be honest with you, I can't wait for dark. I just can't wait to get in there.
Heavy footsteps, loud groans, high-pitched screams have all been heard on these stairs and on the top floor, along with the feeling of strangulation and complete and utter disorientation.
And it's amazing, this place actually goes back at least 500 years, and it still belongs to the same family that were involved in the Pendle witch trials, when 11 witches were actually sentenced to death here. This belonged to the Nutter family, and of course Alice Nutter was hanged for witchcraft here.
Screams of agony have been heard coming from this particular room, but nobody knows why.
Something is still there. Something remains. And hopefully we're going to find out what later on tonight.
I still shudder when I think about what happened in this room. It's a very uneasy room. Many people have the feeling of being strangled, and lots of people have actually fainted. But it's the dark shadows that are seen in here that make people run in absolute terror. So what causes this awful, awful activity? And what affected the crew in such a savage way? We have 24 hours to find out.
Mystifying scenes, but were they tricks of the mind, or were we the cruel victims of 4 centuries of evil intent? Many months on, parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe remains ambivalent.
Well, Kieran, Tynedale Farm, I never ever thought that we would come back here after what happened on Halloween Live. What are you hoping for tonight, or is that a stupid question?
Well, for me, the experience that the whole crew had here, it was a psychological hotbed as well as some sort of parapsychological phenomena. So what I'm hoping is that tonight maybe we can be a little bit more objective. We got very much taken up in the moment. From my perspective, there's a lot of hysteria, a lot of ASCs, which is altered states of consciousness, that sort of thing. So I'll be chatting to the crew to make sure at least that they'll go into this an objective investigation and hopefully remain calm.
Already we've been here for a short period of time and things are starting to happen. You know, many people have heard whispering noises, doors have banged shut, and everybody's already so nervous.
It's probably not the best frame of mind to be in, considering the psychological association that there already is with this farm. However, it is interesting that we're already getting different sorts of phenomena that we had when we were here before, which means that we may be taking the attention away from the sort of physical experiences that people had and focusing more on auditory phenomena, which is a good thing.
Okay. Now, what are you going to do, or how are you going to feel if the same thing happens again tonight, where, for instance, John the Soundman suddenly feels that someone's choking him and people start to faint or feel dizzy? How are you going to cope with that? How are you going to deal with that?
If the same thing happens this evening that happened on the live show, then in terms of my theory, which was that the experiences people were having was more psychological, we can discount that theory and we can say we're looking at something more physical. It's not as a result of anxiety or hysteria, that sort of thing. What we may be dealing with is some sort of physical phenomena and perhaps paranormal.
Spiritualist mediums Derek Okora and David Wells were both a party to the terror that has unfolded within these dilapidated but apparently deadly walls.
Derek, come forward, it's Ivy. Don't let them get you. Derek, listen to me. Listen to me.
We could wait no longer. It was time for Most Haunted to fearfully tread back into Tynedale Farm.
We have had movement and activity just of recent in this dwelling.
Okay.
And it's not by one individual. It's like, to me, it's like group souls, negative group souls. I would say a group of women and a lot of ranting and raving of some of the, I feel, despicable things that they got up to. There's also tainted in this atmosphere, would you believe it, right in the middle of it, the vortex of it, of an innocence as well. Now, why the innocence is firmly in the middle of all this negativity, I can't tell at the moment.
Okay.
And it's like as if there's a screaming of innocence saying, I'm trapped between all this bad and evil. It's like as if there's a female, a woman, who basically is still to this present moment in our atmosphere and time, is, you know, screaming out her innocence. I don't belong with this lot. I'm a lady, you know, I don't belong with this, and I'm trapped between them. And it's like they're in their ridicule, they're keeping her grounded here. She can't move on.
Who is this woman?
At this moment in time, I can't really, because I'm asking.
Right.
But maybe as we move about,
Yeah.
we will. But what I can tell you is, since we've walked into this dwelling, okay, it's all ears and eyes watching us here now. It's like as if one of these younger ones, her mother, also a fellow... What?
You all right?
Okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
No, I just feel really dizzy.
Yeah, well, this atmosphere will do this.
I've been here today and I'm fine, but my heart's going really quick, and at my head, I just feel like I'm going to keel over at any minute.
Do you want to sit down, Evs?
I'll be all right. I'll be fine. It's just a minute. I'll be all right.
This is what the atmosphere will pump out.
We'll grab a torch.
It's okay.
I'm fine.
Sit down.
Honestly, I'm all right.